honored to be here among friends and great panelists and colleagues. I would start by probably congratulating Professor Kumaraswamy on the new book. I think that for years you have been one of the leading voices on the West Asia, as you would call it here, Arab-Israeli conflict and all that is connected to that. Since it's a historic book, I accept the title. But I would say that I think that there is a change. Your next book will probably get a different title because I think the Middle East is going to a new direction. Yes. For years, I would agree, and I think you started with the 19th century with the first arrival of Zionists back into Israel. The Arab-Israeli conflict was the defining element, I guess, of the Middle East. Before the establishment of Israel, and more so probably after the establishment of the State of Israel. Even after the signing of the peace accords with Egypt in the late 70s, and then with Jordan and the Oslo Accords in the mid-90s, I think that still the narrative of the Arab-Israeli conflict still defined the Middle East. Maybe there was a fine-tuning that the Palestinian issue became the major one, more dominant within the Arab-Israeli conflict. We are witnessing history, I think, in the Middle East in the makings in the last few years. I'm not sure I can say exactly the point where it started, but probably around the Arab Spring, the arrival of ISIS to the region, the change of generations in the Middle East, so in the leaderships of some of the countries. I think this is the phenomena that we can see. And the narrative that for many years was the basis of the relations and the growth in our neighboring countries, that Israel is the mother of all problems in the Middle East, I think was replaced by the real problems that came up, existential threats to the region, to its stability. I'm speaking of radical Islam that threatened the regimes and the state structure that was in the Middle East for years since Sykes-Picot and the Second World War and whatnot. And then the Sunni-Shia issue became more and more relevant as a dividing issue in the Middle East, and Iran was perceived by those regimes as a destabilizer of the Middle East. So it was an evolution or revolution, but Israel, from a problem, became, I think, an asset on the military point of view, on the intelligence point of view, and in a way, a partner on confronting the fundamentalists and the destabilizers of the Middle East. I think that more and more it sank in that the real division in the Middle East is between the countries which support stability, prosperity of the population, and openness towards the world, to the other countries who represent the opposite values. In addition, Israel was also able to offer technology, innovation, modern economy, which I think is also the direction that this new generation of leaders in some of the countries were anyhow planning to take their country to. So it went in parallel to their vision. The biggest manifestation, of course, is the Abraham Accords, the signing of the accords with UAE and Bahrain, and then Morocco and Sudan joining later on. From there, offspring of that is the I2U2, the India, Israel, US, UAE, that is an idea of how to make projects to the well-being of the population, like food security, green energy, and elements like that. Another element that you can see as a change, that the people who fly to Israel would see that now it takes them 2 hours less to fly, at least on El Al. Air India already got the permission a few years ago to overfly Saudi Arabia and Oman. And this is changing not only between Israel and India, but for Israel, all towards South Asia, because we cannot overfly Iran, for example, so we cannot cut. The only path we can do, we don't fly over Iran or Pakistan, so the only flight we can do is over India, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and India. It's not that the Palestinian issue has disappeared. There is no, I don't think, I think it's there, and it's there to stay for a while. But I also believe that there is an element of disillusion with some of the countries who said, especially in the Middle East, West Asia, but not only, that after many, many years of huge investment in the Palestinian issue, be it political capital, be it real capital, they don't see it going anywhere. Of course, some would blame Israel, but I think that their disillusion is a lot to do with disillusion from the leadership of the Palestinians who are not taking them anywhere. In this sense, I believe that India also preceded its time, or preceded the whole process, because if you look at the policy of dehyphenation that India did already 6 years ago, I think it was declared, the visit of Prime Minister Modi to Israel, dehyphenation, the idea in general, of course, is to treat Israel as a bilateral issue and treat our conflict, Arab-Israeli conflict, or our problems with the neighbors as a separate issue, not to mix the two and not to precondition one over the other, which is what, by the way, I believe the Abraham Accords are doing. Again, if you would follow UAE, for example, which is a very friendly country to Israel today, UAE still criticizes Israel on the Palestinian issue. It's not that it disappeared, but it's not becoming the precondition for any relations with Israel, and this is exactly what India did before. This change, I believe, in the Middle East is helping also India and Israel, because there is no pressure on India today when it's going forward very fast on the relations with Israel. But also because part of this process, I mentioned I2U2, but it's not the only thing. There is a fast process of development that is there, and India and Israel are part of the process, will gain, I believe, from this process, and will be a significant part of it also in the days to come, in the years to come. There are a lot of synergies, I believe, in this triangle, for example, of India, UAE, Israel. A lot to do with it, more, a lot is done, and a lot more will be done. So I guess that I will conclude by saying that your next book, probably, this is a historical look, will be the modern history, and the title will be probably something more positive, for enemy to ally or something. So that's my hope, that what we see now in the Middle East is a phenomena that will continue for a long time. Of course, the Middle East is always a struggle. Okay, it's never simple in our region, but I do think that we are on a new track, and I do hope that this will be to continue. So congratulations, and now I have to also read the book and not just go through the book. So thank you very much.
Thank you.